Welcome to Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.
And welcome back.
Welcome back.
I wish I had a song to sing. But...
Welcome back. Welcome back.
No.
No?
No.
Did it sound good?
Close. Yeah.
It sounded close to being good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Positive. All right. Well, we have our highs and lows, and
We do.
I'll start this week.
I would love it.
I bet you would. So let's go with my low.
Okay.
So I know I said this a couple weeks ago and then I got out of it, but I just feel like the devil is attacking, honestly. Like, that's the best way that I can say it. And this week, my friend RJ, she was doing our devotional during PAPES, and it was basically talking about like loving our weaknesses and how those things can also glorify God and all these things. And I was like, that actually went perfectly along with how I felt this week because, we've done the Strength Finder.
Yes.
My top two are woo and positivity,
Yes.
which I think are awesome.
They are. Hello.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Clearly they're awesome.
Is there any others?
Well, but Brianna Leach had told us there's basement
There is
issues
basement,
with
so-
this, and I can recognize those. And one of those with the woo, the winning others over, is when maybe you don't feel like that's happening and you can't recognize it. It bothers my soul.
Yes.
And it also is the activity, the negative also kills my soul.
Yes.
And I felt like both of those things were happening this week. And because they were teaming up
Together,
my weaknesses of negativity and this like self-doubt almost were teaming up. I was like feeling just like this heaviness on my soul.
It's like crashing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it is.
And I talked to Sean about it, and I was just like, I know this doesn't make sense. And then I was building things up because and it wasn't even reality. Like I was like ready for an email from a parent, and I was ready for all of these things that could potentially happen, or that my friend was mad at me for a mistake I had made, and I built them all up.
Yes.
And then but what I love about the God that we serve is one in those moments, and I think this is the idea of those weaknesses, is leaning on God in those and asking for clarity, asking for those things that we really need. And I was like, God, I need you to help me through this and figure it out. And I had the friend that I was a little upset. I was like, I'd messed up. I just did. And I had apologized, and I was worried about like their reaction to it. They were like, do not worry about this. And like, that was their words. Don't worry about it. We're good.
No.
Things are fine. And so that kind of alleviated some of it, and almost tears in my eyes because I'm again building things up.
Yes. I know.
This is again just like God answering prayers with it, even those small moments but were in my soul again. I also had one of our dear friends. I have her daughter in class, and this goes along with my high, but we hatched baby chicks this week, and she sent me the picture I'd put up on Seesaw and said just how much the picture had meant to her and what I was doing, how it mattered. And so when I opened up my email and expecting hate mail, and that's what I had instead, I honestly like broke down in tears. Yeah. Because it was exactly what I needed to hear and see. And it was just like God reaching out through somebody to be like,
100%.
You're doing the right thing and things are fine. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
So I guess my encouragement to people would be also like, when you're feeling that moment of just whatever it is, like, ask God, what do you need in these moments? And also be that answered prayer for other people whenever something brightens your day that they do, or something that is on your heart. Like, that's the Holy Spirit reaching out to try to get you to help somebody in a tough time too.
It is. And, in our PACE meeting, we started, I thought it would be fun to do something different instead of one of us leading, that we picked a Bible study like on YouVersion that we all do together through the week. And on Friday, we just discuss it. Yeah. So we started doing it. It was about faith. And it was one of the things that was saying is like, we can't rely on our flesh. We have to trust in the Holy Spirit and be there. And that's those kinds of, so many times when these things happen. And I think when we're wooers and we're positive people and we're bossy a little bit, we like to take care of things that we think we rely, oh yeah, we trust in God and stuff, but when things start crashing, it's like a huge crash for us. Like, and I think that's such a good reminder that that's when you just have to put your faith in him and not let it carry all those things. But it's so hard.
And that goes so hard. It is. And I think it goes for like all the different strengths that people have and things that we're good at, but the things that we do have as weaknesses, God uses those to help us rely on him too, because sometimes we take it on ourselves. And anyway, so, and my high is that we did have baby chicks this week.
How many did you catch?
Well, we have hatched 3, and one was late on Friday when it finished up, but the kids got to see part of them hatch, and they're just so cute. And I've told them that I've had a lot of staff members come by for our chicken therapy, chick therapy. They come in and just like pet the chicks. And when I see somebody having a bad, I can just tell, I'm like, go to my room. The baby chicks are there. And they're like, I'm going to go. And I laugh because my son, Nash, he was, stays in my room after school. And so he's in there without like me for a while. And he's like, the amount of people that come in here to see the baby chick is crazy. And I'm like, I know. So, but it's a fun experience. And the kids are having so much fun. And just their faces, being able to pet a baby chick is so cute.
Some people will never have experience like that. Like, you know what I mean? Most people don't grow up on a farm, don't go where, like, that is their only experience they'll ever have.
I know. So
that is exciting.
But, I also am going to be the chick lady forever.
For the rest of your life.
I can't ever not.
There's worse things to be known as.
That's true. I'll take that.
What? Take
That's a win. That's a win. All right. What about you?
You know what? My high is I had a kid this week that has kind of been struggling on stuff, and he had a really, really good day. So his teacher's like, hey, can he come down and celebrate with you? I'm like, hey, I'm at lunch duty, but send him down. He can help. It's amazing. That's why I love elementary kids, because I said, hey, you want to help push the trash around and collect trash? He's like, really? And I was like, this is what kids that make good choices get to do. And he's like, yeah.
Oh, but it's helping. They like to help.
He did it for a little while, but he looked at when we were doing this, he looked at me and he said, this is literally my best day ever. And I was like, that is so precious. And like, we don't realize like these little things that you do. And his teacher was so great because she built it up, and she even took him and let him call his mom and did those extra things. So really, I just let him push the trash. It was nothing I did. But these kids that are tricky, don't give up. Like that's what I want to say is don't give up, because this teacher has several things over and over, but she still kept investing in him, and we kept trying new things, and he will walk away knowing that was like he was loved and we were proud of him, and that was great. So that was my high. And you know what? The low, I don't have a low. No, my air conditioner's not fixed, but the weather's beautiful outside.
It's feeling like fall.
Yeah, so you know what?
It's a real thing.
I'm not even going to complain about the air conditioning. I don't have a low. I'm tired. That's it. That's life.
Yeah.
So yeah, no low.
Yes. No low. There we go. All right.
So we're just going to welcome to the living room. Remember we talked about this in our living room.
It's welcome to our living room. Yeah. I didn't hear it. You went really fast on that. Welcome to our living room.
And so, but before we started, I follow a lot of teacher Instagram posts and stuff. And so the one's teacher goals, and they ask the question, what superpower is most important for a teacher? So I thought we would talk about that before we get into our week.
I think there's some that are scary. If we had them, like, I don't want to be a mind reader.
No, I don't want to know what kids are thinking.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I would be like petrified. No. And I think I can read part of their minds already, and it's scary enough thinking I know what's going through my mind. So that is out.
Yeah.
And I also don't want invisibility.
No. Right now it's 2 for 2. Absolutely not.
So I'm trying to come up with what I would want. Those are ones I don't want.
Listen, I wish I could fly, because I run from one end of the building to the other. Yeah. So if I could just zoom and be there, and it would actually really help my behaviors, because if I just showed up all of a sudden and flying in, I feel like that would be a great distraction.
Yeah. This is hard. What are some other options? What else do we have here? Stretcher. I stretch. I don't want to do that.
Go gadget arms.
I don't want that.
What about freezing time? Go back in space.
I think I'm freeze time.
Freeze time?
Yeah.
See?
I like freeze the moment. That would actually be really great. Thank you for coming up with that.
I'm a great superhero.
You are a superhero mentor. That's what you are. Like figuring out the right one, because you're right. That one works for you. Yeah. Super speed or flying.
Yeah. As I said that I spent a lot of this week thinking about it. This is what I do on my days off.
I'm glad you did. Because I feel like it could become reality. Why not?
I love it.
Mm-hmm. And so,
yeah, freezing time.
Because I'm just thinking about the moments this week that I could have frozen.
Yeah, and maybe redid it even, or just pause.
Now, yeah, do I pause it and go back to time and like have them, or sometimes I would just, how they have those commercials about the challenge flag. Like sometimes I do this at my house. I'm like, I want a challenge flag on what you're saying is that. But if I can do that,
you and I are the one talking about that.
No.
My husband Nicole says we were just talking about that commercial where they throw in and they're like, let's look back and see what really happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I did it, all right. I was wrong. Okay.
And I get my challenge flag back. Okay. You lost yours because you were not being honest. Yes. That would be a good one too.
Yeah.
I know that's not like a superpower.
Listen, this is our story.
We can make whatever we want. But yes, I would either go with freezing time because there would be the moments like the bad choice, like you can sense it coming.
Oh yeah.
And I could be like, boom, and freeze time, and then I can like
rethink,
or I could pick the child up and wheel them back to a different location, set them down,
take the pencil away,
or when they're like, I'm not going out for a break, and I'm like, boom, and then all of a sudden they like wake up and they're in their break spot.
I like it.
When these kind of ideas come up in my mind, I feel like it could really happen. I do in my mind think that it could become reality. It's like when I had race and my epidural did not work.
I didn't work either.
Are we the same person? I think we're the same.
That's crazy.
Robin and I are the same. And I was trying to squeeze Sean's fingers off. I told him that he was having the next child. And in my mind, that could happen.
How'd that work for you?
It didn't, but the epidural worked on Nash and it was way better. It did not work on Cruz, so I was 1 for 3.
Man.
I know. We'll jump through that too. Yeah. So sometimes we think things are going to happen and it's not.
But if you had a superpower, think about it this week.
Freezing time or the challenge flag. 100% either one of those.
And I would stick with flying.
Yeah, I agree with that for you.
Or turn back time. Like I could when I see a problem, get ready to help, I'd be like, hey.
We're not asking for a lot. Some people are like,
and actually make life better.
Instead of hacking computers and like destroying the world.
No, we're trying to make it a better place.
Make it a better place.
Solving problems.
Yep.
I love it. All right. So tell me about your week. Tell me some funny things.
Okay. Well, on the note of, freezing time or challenge flags, I did have a student tell me this week that they were getting me fired.
Oh no.
He's a little upset about some things. And
no, was it the one that you were draining an email from? Maybe?
No, it's not. But before he was leaving my room, he was telling the kids, he was like, she's getting fired, and the kids' eyes were like, no, not Mrs. Beadle, and they were looking at me like please no, like it was really gonna happen. And anyway, when I got out to talk to him, he also was like, it's gonna happen, like that was and I messaged our assistant principal and I just said, hey,
I'm getting fired today.
With that, I'm getting fired, and I was like, and I want you to know, I just was like, listen, I'm tenured. It's going to take a lot of paperwork, so I don't think that's going to happen. I didn't actually say that, but
in your mind,
it was just kind of laughable because I'm like, there's a shortage of teachers,
right.
And I know some people that are in the classroom right now, and they want me to stay.
You're like, listen, buddy. What happened with you is a lot. I did a lot worse than that, buddy.
Getting on to
your work. Nice try.
Yeah, nice try. That isn't. I get bonuses for that.
That's called good teaching.
Oh, but it just made me laugh. That one made me laugh. You're getting fired over this.
My story is, I was in a room with a kid that was having trouble, and the counselor was in there with me and the principal, and we were all standing around and our job with him is if we can distract him, he can usually reset.
Yes.
So we have conversations like it's a beautiful day out. Yes. They're upset and stuff. And so he loves Octonauts. So we're like, oh, what, have you heard the theme song of Octonauts lately? We're like, here, I'm going to play it on my phone. And so we're listening to it. And so our counselor, who is always very calm and has a quiet voice, and she's like, what is the name of the one Octonaut? And whenever this kid gets upset, he kind of acts like you're dumb. Like he's like, it's so and so. Like, and I looked at her and I whispered, I was like, moron. And you should have seen her face because it was like she's being so proper, and she looked at me and we got so tickled. But it was the way he said it. I was like, and I whispered so he couldn't hear it, but I was like, moron. And we got laughing. And the good news is it reset him because he's like, why are you laughing? We're like, because we love this music from Octonauts and stuff. But it was like such a great feeling because like she did not expect it, and it came out, and I was like, that's so funny. So
yeah, I support that.
Yeah,
why not? Let's see. There's other things this week. I'll go with one of my students. My Nash, my son, is the same age, right? So fifth grader. And so one of my kids comes in and he's like, hey, I've got this birthday invitation for Nash. And he's like, can you get it to him? And I was like, yeah, I'll get it to him. And I was like, but first, don't you think it would be a good idea for us to show this to the other teachers and act like I'm invited to your birthday party? And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay. So we get done with class and we're leaving, and he's like, grab the paper. And I walk up to Mrs. Miller, and I said, Mrs. Miller, I just want you to know I got this today. And she's like, what? And this is the second time that I have like acted like I'm being invited to a birthday party. But in truth, I'm technically could go to the birthday party.
You could.
And we showed it off.
You're part of the Weedle family.
And he was so like, he thought it was so hilarious, and we had to show the other teacher.
Oh, that's so fun.
Now, the other kid I did this to,
a few
weeks ago, he had the invitations on his desk, and I grabbed one and said, oh my goodness, is this for me? And his eyes got big, and he was like,
he's like, I only have 10. I can only invite 10 people now. Miss Weedle took one of them.
And I was like, this is so exciting. And I was like, oh, and where they were going, I was like, I think it was Incredible Pizza. I'm like, I love Incredible Pizza. This is great. And he was like, and I go, ooh, wait, this part down here, a sleepover after? I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think I can. Which his mom is a teacher, and he plays on Nash's baseball team, and he was looking at me like,
this is not funny.
Yeah, what's happening? And so he just like slowly grabbed the invite from me.
He's like, maybe she won't notice that.
And he grabbed the other ones and put them in his backpack. But I also told the teachers I was invited to that, which they made a big deal. He was just like,
he's like, this is literally my worst day ever.
But again, I know his mother, and she supports me messing with her child. Yes. So
this is why you're getting fired.
I have no idea why I would be getting fired. That's weird. Oh man. Hassling children. I do tell the kids on moments like that really I get one of the joys of my job is torturing them. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like this. Or whenever I start reading a book and I stop in the middle of it and I'm like,
hate that.
We'll finish tomorrow. No. And they're like,
I feel their pain. I don't like that either.
I know. But the best part is when I will flip through the pages and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe
that's so mean.
And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, wow, really? Oh, close it up. And then I put it in the closet.
Oh, that's the worst.
But you know what? It builds anticipation for the next day. Because when I bring that book out again the next day.
I agree. But listen, I'm one of those that will stay up so late just to finish the book because I love a good book.
I know.
Man, I love reading a good book.
Yeah. So torturing children. It's a good, it's positive.
Yeah. I feel like that's a strength finder.
It's a super strength. Maximizer.
Maximizer. I've never been a maximizer. Anyway, all right. So this story, my friend texted me today and said, oh, I have some bad news. One of my kiddos was making some really bad choices and he in the bathroom, and he is riling up people. He's not going to be able to go to the bathroom on his own anymore and all these things. And she's like, I'm very sad to tell you this. And she's like, and I also want you to know that she took him out in the hall and she talked to him. And so he wasn't in the classroom. And then she sent him back in and called out 2 other kids and shut the door. And when he went back in there, he said, hey, called her a word.
Oh.
Allowed for everything.
Oh.
We're like, well, obviously he did not agree with the way you got on to him.
No.
So I was like, well, I guess that's a problem. So I'll come take care of that.
Well.
So I'm sure that was not a good thing for her. And he said it loud enough for all of them to get in trouble. And it was not a good thing. So
some kids had a new vocabulary word.
Okay. So I said, you know what? You might need to go ahead and write that one up because.
Okay. So I need to ask you something on this note.
Okay.
Because you did rhyming words in first grade, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're doing a word and it's like hit.
Yeah.
And a kid gives you a rhyming word for hit.
I always said, you know what?
For bell.
I always play. I don't make a big deal about it. Yeah. I always like, that actually does rhyme, but it's not appropriate for school. So let's do a next word. And I just keep on going.
Okay.
I don't make a big deal of it.
Because I saw a video of a teacher writing it on the board.
And I do not write it on the board.
You just acknowledge it,
rhyming. And I don't make it a big deal. I was like, actually, that word does rhyme, but it's not a word appropriate for school. Yeah. So let's think of another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wondered, in my world, we deal with it other ways unless they're an English language learner.
Yeah, yes.
But I was curious about that. Okay. Yeah. Well, fair enough.
See?
Is it my turn or your turn? It's my turn? Okay, yeah, you just got that one. So my husband works in my building.
Okay.
And there are some real joys to this. This week I had some students that I don't normally have. They're in the team next to mine, but they came to me for Tiger Focus, like for small groups. And I bring up Coach Weedle. I said something about Coach Weedle and this or that. And the kid looks at me and goes, "What? Wait." And then he sits there for a second and goes, "Mrs. Weedle, Coach Weedle, Mrs. Weedle, wait. Oh." And I go, "He's my husband." Whoa!
You should have said he's my dad.
Why did I not say that? Well, here's the thing. The other day we had an assembly, and I brought up that he was my husband. Listen, they don't all listen to it. But then he tells me that my husband has a trick that he can do that he saw, like The Rock. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has a trick. And my husband can also do this trick where his pecs dance.
I don't see your husband doing that.
Well, my guess is the kid was probably doing something, and Sean thought he'd be funny, but
now it's a thing.
Yeah, and so I tell, of course, we talk about it. I tell, and this is the part. Sean is a lot different than me.
Yeah,
but he's a funny guy.
That's funny.
It is funny.
I would not expect him of that.
Yeah. And
that's actually funny.
My friends find out, and so my friend Sean was actually going to show her something on his phone at the football game the other night, and he was like, "I need to show you something," and she goes, "Are your pecs going to dance?" And
that's funny.
He's like, what did he say? He said, "Anytime," or something like that. And I was like,
that's actually, you know what, Sean? I have a whole new respect for
you. I know.
That's funny.
And I sit here and I'm like, you know what?
I actually can't wait to run into him.
Now everybody can't wait to run into him.
It's like you can gallop and he can peck dance.
And I feel like his is better than mine, you know? Like I can't really do it like that. So but it's just funny, like also with like one of the things working with your spouse, like some of those funny experiences that you get to share, and then the kids like having these moments. I also just adding on to it, like family Nash is in our building, and so today I ran into him on Friday, and I put out my arms at lunchtime, and I thought he would deny me.
No,
and he smiled and gave me the biggest hug.
I do not believe he would deny you.
I didn't know. I thought I was going to embarrass him in it.
Listen, he is a precious child.
I know.
I don't believe that he would deny you.
He didn't.
I wouldn't.
He didn't. Now, I'm going to try that with Coach Weedle next week.
Now, he might deny you. I think there's a good chance he will deny you, but not Nash. He will not.
I didn't think about doing that, but I might try that next week.
You know what? Report back in.
Okay.
Report back in.
I'll let you know.
Report back in. Mm-hmm. You know what? My last one is actually about my family, too.
Yeah.
You know, I know this surprised you, but I get scared really easily.
What?
And my Maddie scares me all the time. All the time. She thinks it's funny. I don't think it's funny. It makes me mad.
But then you giggle after.
Yeah. But I always want to scare her. But listen, but I don't want to scare her because I will get scared scaring her. Okay?
You will.
So last night we were sitting there and she wants to watch some scary movie.
Oh, I don't
And so Dave says, listen, we're good parents. We're like, you're not watching at our house. If you want to watch it at Kaylee's, you can watch it there, but you're not watching at our house. We don't watch that in our house. And we said, actually, and we were teasing. I said, you're not going to watch it anyway. We don't like, our family doesn't do those things. So I said, we're not going to watch that. And so she said, well, why? And he said, well, because I've seen it too, and it's scary. And she's like, well, you've seen it? And so he said, she's like, why is it even scary? It's just a funny one. And so he started explaining to her and going really slow, and I was sitting next to her on the couch. And so she's listening to him very clearly. And I jumped out, I said, like that to her. She jumped so loud, and she was so scared. I laughed so hard, and she's like, this is not funny. And she was laughing so hard. And she said, I will give you back, Mom. I was like, listen, you've been getting me back for like 24 years.
That was the one time I've gotten you.
16, but 16 years, she scared me. She came out scaring me. Yeah. And so I felt so good. Like, it felt good. Now I know why it's fun to scare someone.
Right. Now you know.
But I mean, I want someone to do that to me, but I like it.
Are you nervous right now?
Yeah, yeah. I am. I'm almost afraid to tell you that story because I feel like you might scare me now. So
all I have to do is be like,
no,
all I have to do is look at Robin and kind of get my eyes kind of like a little scary.
But it was very fun. It was very fun.
Oh, very good. I support all of that stuff, and I will help you scare her anytime you want. So
I'll look forward to it.
Okay. Reminders: we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. YouTube is where you can watch us and all of our glory, and
we're not so much
TikTok. Yep, TikTok, all the things. And if anybody has a hookup for us to have our own segment on anything,
not anything,
maybe not anything, PBS, public drive, they would be lucky to have us.
I feel like we would kind of zest up the PBS.
Zest up.
A little.
Wow.
A little something extra.
I don't even know what the options are really out there, but we're available.
We're available
for certain things.
We do have some limitations, not much.
We have plenty of limitation. If anybody has a scary movie that they're producing, please ask us to come. We'll get Robin. She will be your leading lady.
I will not. I do not watch scary movies.
And you don't even have to have her act scared. She will legitimately be scared the entire time.
It was true. Yeah. Why is that? I really am scared.
There must have been something when your mom was pregnant with you.
I mean, honestly, you would think you think I would live a life that was awful.
Does she get scared easily?
Yeah, she kind of does.
It's hereditary.
It's hereditary. We're scaredy cats. That's another strength. We're talking about our strengths today.
That's the weakness. What's the strength of that? You make
we jump
really
loud. I'm a fast jumper. Anyway.
All right.
Okay, you ready for our challenge?
I am ready.
All right. The scripture's from Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for Lord, not for human masters. And someone had posted this. It's from Little Christian Things. It says how to represent Jesus in the workplace. Number 1, don't complain. Number 2, watch your language. Number 3, encourage others. Number 4, operate in integrity. 5, pray for those who you work with. 6, shut down conversations that are centered around gossip or just walk away. 7, in everything you do, do it as a form of worship into God and watch how it changes your attitude, especially when you don't feel like being there. And I was like, man, that is, and that has been such a good thing for me. And that's kind of like that Bible study I've been doing about if we look for why everything you do, you worship God. Like that is the purpose of everything. It does change our way we look at things and our perspective on things, and that the way we look or how we do things and interact with people. And I just thought that was a great reminder because we're kind of getting into October. The honeymoon season's over from the first of the school year.
Did that exist?
I like to pretend it does. So.
Okay.
But this is kind of when it gets hard because it's kind of a stretch and things are selling and it's very discouraging sometimes. So that's just a good reminder of what to do in the workplace and what kind of person you want to be. So.
I love it. No, and I think those are all good things. And thinking about the praying for others and stuff too, like you can tell when people are having a rough time. My friend, Mrs. Miller, she had, they went to the football game with her mother and she was asking about how school was going. So she let her know the different things that were going on. And her mom had responded with like, I'm praying for you guys. And this morning she sent her a text and was like, I prayed for you and Jill this morning and your students and all this stuff. And I just thought, I told her, I was like, it just like made my heart feel good. And it was like, everything like that matters.
It does matter. And you know what? And we say this all the time, but for her to reach out and text and said that she did that, that meant so much to it. So like those things are important too, not just to pray, but also send those encouragements like, hey, I'm praying for you. I'm thinking of you.
Yes.
Know that I'm walking beside you. And those things mean so much. And I think that's so important.
Well, and I think that's just it. Sometimes we don't send it because we're like, oh, I don't know how they'll take this or
looks
whatever.
Like I'm just making sucking up.
Or like, ooh, good for you. I have never, when somebody is told I'm praying for you, I've always been like, I will readily accept any prayers from me, my students, my family. I've never felt like, how dare you? And I never feel like someone's bragging.
No.
And so I need to remember that too, because
and the devil loves to whisper that here. We talk about that all the time. He loves to say those things, but like you said, I don't think there's a person ever that would say that and think that way.
And reach out. I think that's great. All right.
All right. Listen, have an amazing week. I'm really excited because the next time we talk, I have an exciting story, but I have to wait for next Friday to share.
Oh my.
Yeah. So what
Speaking
you'll
of
want to
cliffhangers and leaving somebody out there, I only make my kids do that a day. You're making me go an entire week.
Well, good news if you don't listen till next Sunday, it will be just one day. So good news for you.
Children, Robin is getting me back. Awesome.
Guess what? This is Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.
See you next week.